اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعف فقلت له أعوذ بالله يا أبتاه من الله فيه فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وسمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء اللهم صل. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء قال السلام عليك يا جدح يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فادخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وسمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك وراك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذنني أن يكون معكم ما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافي أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء اللهم صل. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن أمي رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء قال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وحليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء فقلت السلام عليك يا أبتح يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومع بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وخامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا منهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. رسول الله علي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا منحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. قد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذنني يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال ليبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي اليمين يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله؟ فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني من رسالتي نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل العرس وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فضنا وفعل شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني من رسالة نبيا ما ذكر حولنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا أوقظ الله حاجة. فقال علي إذا الله فضنا وفاض شيئا وسودنا وكذلك شيئتنا فاذوا وسودوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. صلوات.
صلوات. میں کی اندھیرا وہ دشتے بل آہا جل گئے میں کرتا میرا جل گئے آہا پھر میری سمجھ کو ظالم بڑھا میں لزنے لگی دل رکھنے لگا بابا اس نے کانوں سنو جی میری بالیاں کان کے خوش کرتا میرا تر ہوا اس نے منہ پہ تماچا لگایا میرے پھر سب اللہ سکی گر گئی خاک پہ پھر میں چلائے رو کے چچا عباس شمر مجھے مار رہا ہے میری مدد کو کوئی نہ آیا بابا میں روتی رہ گئی بابا 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 جان کیا میں کہوں کیا نہ کہوں رنج و علم شام غم حال سفر شام کے زندہ کے ستم اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ اپنے غم میں بھی سنا اپنے غم تم بھی سنا اپنے غم میں بھی سنا بابا جان شمرا نے جب مارے تماچے منہ پر پالیاں کھینچی میری کرتا ہوا خون میں تر بابا جان دیکھو ذرا نی ہے رخسار میرے کیا یتیموں پہ ستم کرتا ہے یوں خوی بشر شم کو دیکھ کے میں خوف سے تر آتی ہوں بے سجاد کے پیچھے ہی میں چھپ جاتی ہوں بابا بابا اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ اپنے غم میں سناؤ اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ اپنے غم میں بھی سناؤ. بابا جان بازو مندے, بابا جان بازو مندے, سب کا بندہ میرا گلا. جبر سن کھچتی تھی تم گچتا تھا ہر گام میرا. بابا جان میں نے کیا, بابا جان میں نے کیا پنجوں پہ چل کر وہ سفر. درد ہوتا تو چلاتی تھی بابا بابا. اس میں کھاتی تو زمین پر نہیں گر پاتی تھی. نسیستر سے گردن میں پھنسی جاتی تھی. بابا بابا اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ, اپنے غم میں بھی سناؤ. اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ, اپنے غم میں بھی سناؤ. صلوات.
صلوات. بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں, پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا. بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں, پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا. سمرنے کی پھر ایسی گستاخی مجھ سے دیکھا نہیں گیا. اماں ہے بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں, پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا. تم جو زلفیں سوار کر کی تھی, انہی زلفوں میں ہاتھ تھا اس کا. جہاں بوسے دیے کھنگانے, اسی گردن سے خون کا پاتا تھا. سارے شبیر یوں کائے ہوئے, شمر خیمے کا گیا. اماں ہے بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں, پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا. دیکھ کر مجھے کو بینگ کر کے ہوئے, شمر ہر بار مسکرا کا رہا. میری نظروں کے سامنے ظالم وار گن کر چوری چلا کا رہا. تیرا ضربے کی خنگ خنجر تھا, اور شبیر کا گلا. اماں ہے بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں, پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا. چاروں جانب سے غیر رکھا تھا, تیرے نورے نظر کو لشکر نے. تیر برساتا تھا کوئی اس پر, کوئی پتھر سے مار کا تھا اسے ریک زخموں پہ وہ گرا کرا جس کو پتھر نہیں ملا اماں ہے بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا اماں کہ جس غم کوئی چلی اس پر ہائے عباس کہہ کے رویا تھا تیر پیشانی پہ لگا جس غم ہائے اصغر زباں پہ آیا تھا ہائے اکبر پکارا بھائی نے جب بھی نیزہ کوئی لگا اماں ہے بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا اماں ایسی نفرت تھی ان کے سینوں میں یہ بھی سوچا نہ شام والوں نے دین اسلام میں زبی ہاں تک ذبح پیاسا نہیں کیا جاتا کینگ گنگ سے حسین پیاسا ہے یہ بھی سوچا نہیں گیا اماں ہے بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا اماں ماں یہ زینب سے کہتی تھی اکبر میری آغوش میں تھا سر اس کا میں نے گردن کو کک کے دیکھا تھا میں نے سانسوں کو رک کے دیکھا تھا آخری بار زیر خنجر ہی میں نے شبیر سے سنا اماں ہے بھائی بھائی پکار کی رہی میں پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا اماں صلوات
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All praise and glory be to Allah. He has given us this chance to participate in the Azaa of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Imam al-Zain al-Abidin alayhi had decided to leave Karbala and set forth to Medina after having stayed there for 3 days. It was too much for him to see how his aunts and the other women as well as the children were all crying day and night while visiting one grave after another. When they came close to Medina, Ali ibn al-Hussein tied his camel, then set up a tent. He said to Bashir, "O Bashir, may Allah have mercy on your father. He was a poet. Can you compose any of it at all?" Bashir said, "Yes, O son of the messenger of Allah, I too am a poet." Imam said to him, "Then enter Medina and mourn the martyrdom of Abba Abdullah. So Bashir rode his horse and entered Medina. When I came near the mosque of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon Allah and his progeny, he cried loudly and recited these verses. O people of Yathrib, may you never stay therein. Al-Hussein is killed, so my tears now rain. His body is in Karbala, covered with blood, while his head is on a spear display. Then Bashir said, here is Ali, son of Al-Hussein, accompanied by his aunts and sisters. They have all returned to you. I am his messenger to you to inform you of his arrival. People went out in a hurry, including women who had never left their homes, and all weeping and wailing. All those in Medina were in tears. Nobody ever seen such crying and wailing. Imam Zain al-Abidin narrated the following to the people of Medina. Imam Hussein and his family have been killed, and his women and children taken captive. They displayed his head in every land from the top of a spear. Such is the catastrophe, similar to which there is none at all. O people, which among you are happy after him, or which heart is not grieved on his account? Salawat. Which eye among you withholds its tears? The seven great heavens wept over his killing. The seas wept with their waves, and so did the heavens with their corners, and the earth with its expanse. So did the trees with their branches, and the fish in the depths of the seas. So did the angels who are close to their Lord. So did all those in the heavens. O people, which heart is not grieved by his killing? Which heart does not yearn for him? Which hearing hears such a calamity that has befallen Islam without becoming deaf? Salawat.
Kulthum, the sister of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, recited the following verses of poetry upon her return to Medina. O city of our grandfather, accept us not for with sighs and griefs we come. We left you surrounded by kin, and returned with neither sons nor men. Then she took both knobs of the mosque's door and cried out, O grandfather, I mourn to you my brother Al-Hussein. O grandfather, to you do I complain from what we have been through. For by Allah I never saw anyone more hard-hearted than Yazid, nor have I ever seen anyone more evil than him, more rough or more cruel. He kept hitting my brother's lips with his iron bar as he said, how did you find the battle, O Hussein? When Bibi Zainab reunited with her family and the daughter of Imam Hussein, Bibi Sugra, she must have asked about her brothers and sisters. She asked about her beloved brother Ali Akbar, and Bibi Zainab narrated to her that he was murdered in the land of Karbala with a dagger in his chest, and she told Bibi Sugra about how difficult it was on Imam Hussein alayhi salam to carry his body back to the tents. When Bibi Sugra asked about Hazrat Ali Asghar, Bibi Zainab told her how even the 6-month-old baby wasn't spared, and he too was shot with an arrow, and not just any arrow, a 3-pronged arrow meant to shoot camels with. Imam Hussein returned with his body back to tents, with the blood of Hazrat Ali Asghar smeared on his face. When she asked about her dear sister, Bibi Sakina, Bibi Zainab must have narrated to her that after the martyrdom of her father, she had many tribulations. I saw from the journey from Karbala to Kufa and from Kufa to Sham, the color of her cheeks changed from pink to red to blue and then purple from the constant slaps of shimmer. She too reached martyrdom from the torture of the enemy and the separation of her father. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. May Allah accept our humble contribution to the Azaa of Imam Hussein, and may He hasten the reappearance of our 12th Imam. Salawat.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jan Musavi, and I'm proud and grateful to be a Shia Muslim and a follower of the Ahlul Bayt. I was fortunate to be born into this religion. However, it is through Azadari and the example of Imam Hussein that I gained valuable life lessons to help strengthen my character. Imam Hussein, along with 18 members of his family and many faithful companions, was slaughtered hungry and thirsty on the sands of Karbala. Some people ask why we mourn Imam Hussein's tragic killing 1,400 years after it took place. Imam Hussein stood up for the truth and justice to ensure that the true Islam, as taught by his grandfather Prophet Muhammad, would remain until the end of time. Azadari teaches us countless lessons. However, today I want to talk about how it teaches patience, coping with the grief, and how it creates unity. Life is full of challenges and disappointments. Sometimes we work hard and invest a lot of energy into a task and are disappointed when things don't work out. In Karbala, we saw Imam Hussein demonstrate patience when he was stopped by Hur and later told to relocate his camps away from the banks of the Euphrates River. Hazrat Abbas, who was the protector of Imam Hussein and the bravest soldier of Bani Hashim, demonstrated patience when Imam Hussein didn't give him permission to fight. Bibi Zainab showed patience and strength when she was taken through the streets of Kufa and made to wait at the entrance of Yazid's palace without her chadar. Imam Sajjad showed patience and strength as the leader of women and children when Yazid's soldiers mistreated and imprisoned them. It was patience and total submission to Allah that allowed Bibi Zainab to respond, "I saw nothing but beauty, even while her loved ones were massacred, and she and the women were paraded through the streets of Kufa and Sham." The tragedy of Karbala teaches us to practice patience and submit to Allah's will, even in the most difficult times. We listen to Masa'ib and our hearts break when we hear about the brutal treatment of the Prophet's family. It's hard to comprehend the pain and emotions that we went through as they watched their loved ones die until we face grief in our own lives. Losing someone you were close to is devastating, but how do we cope with the passing of someone we love? This is when the Shia remember Karbala and the unimaginable loss that the Ahlul Bayt experienced. Karbala teaches us how to mourn and then find the strength to go on. In Karbala, fathers lost their sons, mothers lost their children, wives lost their husbands, sisters lost their brothers, but a little girl lost her beloved father. This Muharram, we hear of 2 young people in the New Jersey community who died tragically. What words do you have to say to comfort their family? At these moments, we remember Karbala. We remember Imam Hussein and how he watched family members and friends go to battle and not return. You think of Imam Sajjad and how he went on to lead and protect his family and preach Islam, even through his immense grief. You think of Hazrat Ali Akbar, who embraced martyrdom at the age of 18. You think of Rabab, who lost an infant son and a 4-year-old daughter. You remember Bibi Zainab, who lost her beloved brothers, Imam Hussein and Hazrat Abbas. Loss is very painful, but we Shia remember the tragedy of Karbala to help us cope with our own grief. Finally, I want to talk about how Karbala inspires unity. We all have busy lives and commitments, whether it's school, work, or other activities. We are focused on our own lives, but when the month of Muharram comes around, our focus shifts. We make time to attend majlis, listen to alams, and do matam. We all come together on the Farsheh to remember Sayyid al-Shahada. We are connected by Azadari. Just look around during matam. Kids, youth, fathers, uncles, and grandfathers all stand together to do matam. We raise our hands in unison when we hear Ya Hussein standing in line and in sync. Inshallah, you are seeing the soldiers of Imam Zamana ready to support him when he comes. As-Sadari teaches us to stand together in unity as we grieve and as we prepare to serve our Imam. Thank you for letting me share why Karbala is still relevant today. Our As-Sadari gives us the tools to handle our day-to-day lives, to better ourselves, and help our Imam and submit to Allah. Salat.
Salat.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hussain of Karbala. Hussain is a name to conjure with. He is truly a world figure beyond all races and religions. He is a world teacher, for he is the teacher of righteousness, which is at once the heart of pith and marrow of all religions. He does not demand you a blind faith, nor believe in unverifiable dogmas, nor does he make you subscribe to a particular book as the only true one, nor to the righteousness, not by the temptations of heaven or the threats of hell, but because it is your true nature. He asks you to fight evil and support good, even though this may involve tremendous sacrifice, such as history has never recorded. Indeed, this is what he did. He made an unprecedented sacrifice, not of himself only, but only of his family. Different religions may divide mankind, but Islam unites it, for righteousness is the religion of all mankind, and fighting evil and supporting good, its sacred duty. Who can differ from this? This is the religion of mankind, and all of those who subscribe to it are Husainis. It is a regrettable fact that at times Hussein becomes a matter of controversy. This is due to ignorance of the real character and contribution to Hussein. He belongs to no sect, he belongs to all humanity. An important aspect about Hussein is that he teaches not through words, but through deeds. His book of Feud of Karbala, where his teachings have been written, not in words but in deeds. That is why he impresses us, consists in his credibility. He was honest and just. He did not make himself up as anything than a man devoted to truth and justice, to the true ideals of a perfect man, and who fought for his principles against heavy odds. He was a man of conjure and determination. Let us honor him, and to the extent our moral strength allows, let us follow him. And this divided world can become, if truly understood, a rallying point of human unity. Karbala was not an ordinary battle between two kings. It was a battle between two principles. Hussein was Haq's incarnation, and Yazid was Batil's incarnation. Hussein triumphed through sacrifice. All men should rejoice this victory, but for Hussein's sacrifice, evil world would have triumphed. He gave his blood so that the truth and justice may remain untarnished. While we naturally feel sad for the tribulations of Hussein, we should remember that his sacrifice was necessary in the cause of humanity. Through these tribulations, he emerged triumphant.
आवाज़ बुलंद सलावत
फातिहा फातिहा
جب گورے غریباں سے وطن میں حرم سر پیٹتے سجاد بزیر علم کہتے تھے نہ اکبر نہ امام امم آئے 18 بنی فاطمہ کو کھو کے ہم آئے 18 بنی فاطمہ کو کھو کے ہم آئے آواز بطول آئی کہ تاریخ جہاں ہے زینب میرا یوسف میرا شبیر کہاں ہے زینب میرا یوسف میرا شبیر کہاں ہے زینب میرے بچے کو کہاں چھوڑ کے آئی زینب میرے پردیسی کو یسرب میں نہ لائی زینب میرے مظلوم سے کی تو نے جدائی زینب تو لٹائی بزرگوں کی کمائی زینب تو لٹائی بزرگوں کی کمائی نکلی تھی تو سب کنبے کی اولاد کو لے کر آئی ہے فقط عابد ناشاد کو لے کر آئی ہے فقط عابد ناشاد کو لے کر کیوں لائے وطن میں مجھے کیا کام وطن سے بچھری ہے بہن بھائی سے اور بھائی بہن سے ہائے ہائے میں اٹھی کیوں لحاد شائے زمن سے بہتر تھا وہ ویرانہ مدینے کے چمن سے بہتر تھا وہ ویرانہ مدینے کے چمن سے سب تانے مجھے دیں گے ہائے ہائے کدھر آئی بھائی کا تو گھر لٹ گیا پھر کس کے گھر آئی بھائی کا تو گھر لٹ گیا پھر کس کے گھر آئی زنجیر در فاطمہ سغرا کو ہلا کر ایک لڑکی نے جلدی سے یہ آواز دیا کر لے بی بی پدر آیا تیرا شکر خدا کر مل آئی ہوں کبراؤ سکینہ سے میں جا کر مل آئی ہوں کبراؤ سکینہ سے میں جا کر مرضی تیری اماں کی اگر پاتی ہوں بی بی تو گود میں اصغر کو اٹھا لاتی ہوں بی بی تو گود میں اصغر کو اٹھا لاتی ہوں بی بی آواز دی سغرا نے تیرے منہ کے میواری اور مادر عباس کو خوش ہو کے پکاری سہن کرو زہرا کی مراد آئی ہماری ہستی ہوئی در پر گئی شبیر
کی پیاری
ہستی ہوئی در پر گئی شبیر
کی پیاری
کیا دیکھتی ہے چاروں طرف عید بپا ہے پر شہر کے دروازے پہ رونے کی صدا ہے پر شہر کے دروازے پہ رونے کی صدا ہے تھراتے ہوئے ہاتھوں سے پھر پردہ اٹھایا سر پیٹ کے منہ خاک بڑا سب کو
دکھایا
چلائی کہ تم سب سے جو منہ میں نے چھپایا رویت تھی میری جس سے وہ بھائی نہ آیا رویت تھی میری جس سے وہ
بھائی نہ آیا
سر پر میرے دامان حسین اب نہیں لوگو وہ اور ہی زینب تھی میں زینب نہیں لوگو وہ اور ہی زینب تھی میں زینب
نہیں لوگوں
ناگہاں نظر جا پڑی گہوارے کے اوپر جھولے پہ گری اور وہ چلائی رو بھیا علی اصغر علی اصغر علی اصغر بانوں نے کہا سوتے ہیں وہ قبر کے اندر بانوں نے کہا سوتے ہیں وہ قبر کے اندر پانی کے لیے ماں سے وہ روٹھے ہیں منا لاؤ بستی میں شہیدوں کی وہ سوتے ہیں اٹھا لاؤ بستی میں شہیدوں کی وہ سوتے ہیں اٹھا لاؤ جب گورے غریباں سے وطن میں حرم آئے صلوات
صلوات گزری جو نگاہ سے زینب جگر فگار آنکھیں لہو لہو تھی بگن پر غموں کا بار لاشوں کو دیکھ دیکھ کے روکی خزار ذات کہہ کی کھجل گیا یہ یا شاہ ذوالفقار کیسے بتاؤں کیا میرے دل پر گزر گئی لاش پہ بے وطن کے جو میں ننگے سر گئی ہے بابا غربت میں قتل ہو گیا مظلوم بے وطن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن تیروں پہ کھا رکھا ہوا لاشا حسین کا ڈوبا ہوا لہو میں ٹھکر کا حسین کا آواز کی حسین کی بہن کفن کفن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن آئی ناراض گو گھڑی پر گیس کی فضا کنبہ شہید ہو گیا میرا گھر اجڑ گیا پر گیس گیس غیر کاپ گا وطن وطن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن ایک دن کے داغ میں نے بہت کر اٹھا لیے کچھ داغ میں نے قلب کے اندر چھپا لیے چھپ کے نہیں چھپانے سے گا غیر سنگ رسن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن دیکھا ہے بابا میں نے جو منظر بتاؤں کیا نیزوں پہ کھا رکھا ہوا سر ہر شہید کا گوروں کے گورگے سے کا ککرے بدن بدن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن برکھی کا لے جائے علی اکبر میں جب لگی بابا کو گی صدا کبھی آواز مجھ کو گی کہتا گھاسی نہ تھا کے اماں چھوبن چھوبن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن غربت میں قتل ہو گیا مظلوم بے وطن میں بھائی بھائی کہہ کہ کھلا شاہ بہن بہن صلوات
ماشاءاللہ جزاک اللہ ماشاءاللہ ماشاءاللہ کوئی بات صلوات صلی اللہ محمد و علی محمد. Please recite a Surah Fatiha. The sponsors are today the Darul Ilm School. So please recite a Surah Fatiha for the families of the entire school staff, their children and the founders and everybody that are associated with Darul Ilm school, inshallah. Please recite a Fatiha. Bismillah. Maliki yawmiddin, iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Bismillah. Qul huwallahu ahad. Wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah. Wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah. Qul huwallahu ahad. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa alihi. We have been very fortunate to have Syed Al-Sharai with us this weekend, and we are hoping he'll agree to us to extend his stay till Tuesday, inshallah. So so hopefully, inshallah, he will do that. With a loud salawat, let's welcome him. Allah. Sallallahu. Bismillah. Yes. There's a majlis. The last, please. There's the last majlis of this year's Ayyam Aza is on Tuesday, the 4th of October, and on the 15th of October is a Saturday. We'll have the Wiladat of the Holy Prophet, inshallah. So we'll have a Milad here at same time, starting with Maghrib, inshallah. The Maghrib will be approximately 6:45 or so. Immediately after that, we'll have the Milad to celebrate the birth of the Holy Prophet on the 15th of October. So please be here with that day, inshallah. Salawat. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
To move up, if you don't mind.
You want to bring them closer? Yeah. Sure. Well, everybody, can you guys come a little closer to the member, please? Thank you.
I guess I have to extend my stay now.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Jazakumullah. Allahumma salli ala. Cordially, this is our last program on this series for my time here. A few observations I would love to share regarding my experience in the beautiful Baytul Qa'im community. As is indicative of the name, Bayt al-Qa'im, the house of the one who will rise to bring about world peace and justice. I have seen many examples of beautiful communities around this area. The Pensacola community, this one, but something that strikes me is on a wet, windy Sunday, you have lovers of Ahlul Bayt come and congregate to learn more about their worldview, and that is extremely inspirational. The thing is, I'm looking at the crowd, it's all youth. Starting right here, youth. Youth, by the way, to me is 35 and younger. Everyone here, I'm being very serious. The vast majority are young, youthful. You know, this is a problem in many communities. I've had the honor to go North America and in Europe. Biggest issue they complain about is how do we get the youth to come? We get the, mashallah, elderly. I see here, the issue is in the opposite. We have so much youth, how do we get the elderly to come nowadays? This is a testament to the wonderful efforts. When you do something lillah, Allah will give you back 100 times, inshallah. So may Allah bless you and protect you all and unite us all in the near future soon, inshallah ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أفضل الذكر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبا القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وعلى روحك وبدنك الطاهرة صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. All together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي. Let your voices reach Karbala. وعلى أولاد وعلى أصحاب الحسين خصوصا سيدي ومولاي قمر بني هاشم أبا الفضل العباس عليه السلام. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The concept of adalatul sahaba, or the integrity, justice of the companions of the Holy Prophet of Islam, is a widely debated and discussed concept within the timeline of Islamic heritage. Because of it primarily, the Shia lovers of Ahlul Bayt have been subject to years of scandal and ridicule as a result of our rejection of said concept. We have been called Zanadiqa, Rawafid, we have been called Fusaq, terminologies that are only indicative of one who is so far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The result of the rejection of this theological concept known as the justice of the companions of the Holy Prophet, or adalatul sahaba. I, as a follower of the Ahlul Bayt today, and among all of us here inshaAllah ta'ala, we recognize that we adore the Sahaba of the Holy Prophet. We admire them. They are literally our role models, because without a shadow of doubt, from the Sahaba of the Holy Prophet are the Ahlul Bayt. Many of those who say the Shia hate the Sahaba forget to mention that Ali ibn Abi Talib is a Sahabi, that Aba Abdullah is a Sahabi, that Lady Zahra is a Sahabiyya. The wives of the Prophet who were upright are all companions of the Holy Prophet, let alone your Miqdads, your Salmans, your Abi Dhars, your Ammars, your Khuzaym bin Thabit, your Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari, and the list goes on, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. We admire the companions of the Holy Prophet of Islam. But if you were to ask far and wide in the world today, the 21st century, what are the Shia and what are their major views to the non-Muslim, it is always the three following things. They are the people that do ma'tam, and this is an act that is something they don't really know how to substantiate it. Ma'tam, the three M's. Ma'tam, mut'a, and the companionship of the Holy Prophet. So I guess two M's. These are the primary things that the Shia are leveled against. They say these people, they practice these issues here. They are individuals that they don't go beyond these concepts. One concept that involves latam and ma'tam and all of that, and the other concept that involves an act of temporary marriage. And the other one is they hate the companions. There's a lot of misconception in this regard, where we hate some companions, we revere others. How do we substantiate our opinion? And why have we rejected such a concept, brothers and sisters? To summarize in a brief definition, the concept of adalatul sahaba comes from the term adil, udul, to be just. When you are adil, one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-adil, adala. One of the tenets of your usul ad-din is the adala of Allah. You have to not only believe Allah is wahid, ahad, laysa kamithlihi shay, you have to also believe He is adil, He is just. What good is it in believing in a God who is not a just God? Because God is just, He gave us risalah, He gave us imamah, and He gave us the concept of qiyamah. So adala is a big deal. It is to mean that there is a concept of justice and ethics. This in reflection to the companions of the Holy Prophet of Islam. We believe many of them are udul, are just. But in a theological, non-Shi'i concept, it means the following. Every single companion of the Holy Prophet of Islam has justice. They are people of integrity. As a result, this is homogeneous to the concept of imamah. As the imams of Ahlul Bayt are all what? Just, they have integrity. Meaning what? They never err, nor do they sin. This is a big deal. Because what happens when you call people that never make sin deliberately, not involuntarily? Ma'soom. I remember one time in Hajj, we were doing a dua right in front of the Kaaba. We ended the dua, I don't know what dua we were making, but we were a short dua under our own breath. And the end, وَصَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَى سَيِّدِنَا وَنَبِيُّنَا وَأَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ الْمَعْصُومِينَ. We said ma'sumin. Someone to us said, فَقَطَ النَّبِي مَعْصُوم. Only the Prophet is ma'soom. I contemplated for a moment, by ma'soom, I am only saying that these people never sinned in their lives. But by extension, never made errors as well. When in reflection, I then realized, you also believe in the same exact thing, but not for 12 ma'soomin, but for 120,000 other individuals. You accept it for 120,000 people, but you reject it for just 12 people? I'm telling you 12, just 12. These are pure, sinless. Allah has purified. You said, no, impossible. Only the Prophet, faqat al-Nabi, ma'soom. What have you done with 100 and the Ghadir, in the event of Ghadir, the material makes mention, 120,000 attended. All of them are companions. The concept of adalat al-Sahaba insists that they are all just. They don't sin, they're ma'soom. Suddenly they are infallibles all of a sudden. You accepted over 100,000 being pretty much ma'soom, but rejected 12, why is that so hard to accept? Now for that reason and following points upcoming, we respectfully, academically reject such a concept without being those who bicker, without spreading fitna. And if I have a different opinion, I won't shove it down your face if you reject my views. You can praise the people that I don't necessarily hold with high status in front of us, and I won't shove it down your face, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. We'll have a civil discussion, a discourse, a dialogue. If you really think by telling me you are wrong, only the Prophet is ma'soom, that I'm going to be light bulb over my head, oh ahsant, thank you, my whole aqeedah, I'm going to change it now. We have to sit and discuss. In the world today, you can't force. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not allow any form of force. Now, this concept, how did it originate and exactly what does it entail? The concept of adalatul sahaba, or the justice of the companions, or the integrity of the companions of the Holy Prophet of Islam, it is argued that the Prophet made mention in ahadith that all of the companions of mine are all just. Such ahadith exist in the non-Shi'i narrative, not in our narrative. So that means there is no mutual consensus in the world of hadith. There is no mutual consensus. We have ahadith between our brothers and sisters from the non-Shia that we all agree are sahih. For example, Aliyun minni wa ana min Ali. Aliyun ma'al haq wal haqqu ma'a Ali. Hadith al-Kisa is a mutually accepted hadith. So we have ahadith we both accept. By the way, there are booklets that are out there that many ulama, interestingly enough, only from the Shia narrative, have produced to show that, look, here are ahadith you and I agree on. You and I accept. There are materials out there written by Sheikh Muhammad Rida al-Muzaffar. These are the Sahih ahadith, sunnatan wa Shia. Sadly, these books don't get any attention. It's always yours versus mine. But in any case, we have mutually accepted traditions. The ahadith and narrations that say all of my Sahaba, like for example, all of them, كالنجوم, they are like the stars. Wherever you follow them, they'll take you to guidance and hidayah. Every single one of my companions. We reject this one because we don't have this narration. So there isn't a single hadith that is mutually accepted so that the other side can possibly say, even you believe in such concepts based on your own literature. What else is provided to substantiate such a belief? You must respect every single one. I don't care what they did in their lives. They are all subject to adalah, the Quran. Now the Quran, what ayat are postulated to suggest such a concept? I only want to find the haqq in this world. I don't wake up one day to say, who am I going to hate? Who am I going to bother? How am I going to bring more fire in this already burning world that I live in? No, I want to find the truth. I am glad that we all can agree we can start with the Quran. Deconstruct your beliefs, by the way. In this world today, and what your aqeedah is, say, my aqeedah is this. Deconstruct it, where can I find it? If I don't necessarily see much in the world of tradition, does the Quran make mention? You, in this world today, follow only what Rasulullah said. My Ahlul Bayt and the Quran. Anything in addition, brothers and sisters, is fine so long as it doesn't cross Sharia. So long as you can embrace your culture, you can embrace psycho-social norms. We've been doing this is how we do it, these are our practices, that's totally fine. So long as Sharia stays the red line, and that red line is never crossed. You can find many countries have their own different variations of ma'tam, and I see it. And these are beautiful traditions. So long as it doesn't cross Sharia. So deconstruct your aqeedah at times. I remember reading in the material of the Wasa'il of Shia of Al-Hurr Al-Amili, he makes mention that people would come to the Holy Prophet in his last days and they would say, Ya Rasulullah, the hadith makes mention, يَعْرِضُونَ دِينَهُمْ عَلَيْهِ. They would present their deen to the Prophet. This is what I believe. Is this true? And I love this, by the way. They would go to the grand scholar, i.e. the Prophet, and say, hey, this is my aqeedah. I believe this happens. I believe this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is this correct? Rasulullah would say, that's good, this one fix it, that's good. When Rasulullah left the world, they then approached Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, those who are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They hear different interpretations. Is what I believe in correct? For example, you have elements of anthropomorphism. Allah might have a limb, tajseem, bodies. You have the hadith, Allah puts his leg in hell. Hadith that are nonsensical. They would come to the Ahlul Bayt and say, is this a reality or no? Ahlul Bayt would reply, today for some reason, when the scholars are accessible and we have confusion in our deen, they're not called for some odd reason. You go to the scholar and say, is what I believe in reasonable? This is my aqeedah. I believe the Ahlul Bayt are like this. And the Prophet is like that, and their capabilities are 1, 2, and 3. They would do that to the Ahlul Bayt at the time. Now today we should do this and invest in this, inshallah ta'ala. You want to live the life that is true to God, not that is true to my social norms. Because the Quran makes mention it's not easy to go against your social norms. Allah spoke to the Prophet and he said this, it's not easy. People who their whole lives grew up a certain way, لِتُنذِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنذِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. I acknowledge, Ya Rasulullah, your mission is hard. Surah Yasin says this. You are trying to guide a group of people, you convince them. Try convincing a man that bowing down to the statue made of dates and mud and rock, that is not Allah. He probably believes it's not Allah, but my forefathers were like this and we've been doing this for the longest time. Embrace your culture so long as Sharia stays number one, so long as it doesn't cross the Sharia. Now I want to do the same thing in my aqeedah, deconstruct it. I don't believe, for example, that every single companion of the Prophet of Islam deserves heaven. I don't. How do I stem that? Or if I do, how do I substantiate that? Let me go and deconstruct this. I don't see mutually accepted ahadith. I see one-sided. And in the world of traditions where I can speak to my non-Shi'i brother, I need to use evidence that says, look, you and I. That may not be the case. Let's go back down to the Quran. The Quran, there are 2 ayat suggested. Surah Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. To which the ayah is there, and I give full credit, by the way. This is a strong example to potentially support this argument. Muhammadun Rasulullah walladhina ma'ahu. The Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of God. Those who are among him, the Sahaba, those who are among him, ashidda'u ala al-kuffari, ruhama'u baynahum. They are firm against the disbelievers. This is an upright quality. They are merciful among themselves. By the way, this is an antithetical quality. It's hard to find these in a person. It's such a great quality. When you can be full throttle one side when necessary, but tender and soft, like a soft orphan, a mother with her child, to the orphans on the other end. I can only see one man manifested this. He was called Asadullah in the battle, then in the orphan he's called Abal Yatama, the father of the orphans. Only one man manifested Ashidda ala al-kuffar, Shadid alayhum, Rahim baynihum. It's Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib. However, the ayah is clear. وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. So all of those who are among the Prophet, this is a general concept. All of the Sahaba, and I agree. وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. Firm against the disbelievers. رُحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُم. The Quran then gives more descriptions. I might become a bit hesitant now. تَرَاهُمْ رُكَّعًا سُجَّدًا. You will find them doing prostration, bowing down. Sujood, sujjada. يَبْتَغُونَ فَضْلًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانًا. Seeking the reward from Allah and His heavenly abode. Then it continues. سِيمَاهُمْ فِي وُجُوهِهِمْ مِنْ أَثَرِ السُّجُودِ. I see this and I absolutely adore the companions of the Prophet. I do, of course. How I love the ones who gave their lives in Badr, in Uhud, in Khandaq, in Hunayn, in Khaybar. These are shuhada of the Prophet of Islam. However, I have to acknowledge there are those who were with the Prophet from the early years that I don't have reverence for. And I have good reason to say why I don't have reverence for. This ayah technically applies. Why? They were with the Holy Prophet of Islam. There were those who then became khulafa, those who became umara in Sham. And I don't have too much reverence or acknowledge their legitimacy. How do I live with such an ayah that is so beautiful about the Sahaba? You always watch when Fox News cherry picks Quran. You know what they do? They go like the religion of Islam. But the thing is, it's as if they become scholars of the Quran. It's as if they know the Quran more than you and I. Right here, it says, kill all the disbelievers. Technically, we are not Muslims, so we fall in that category. I have to say to someone like Sean Hannity, when did you become a Quranic scholar, subhanAllah, teaching me about the Quran? They look here, this is where the Quran says this and that. Last I checked, the Quran takes, mashallah, years of effort to be able to understand it in its completion. In any case, they don't read the ayat before, ayat after, they cherry pick. Many people from the non-Shi'i circle will cherry pick this. They use this to build an aqeedah. How about you continue the ayah? The next ayah adds the following. What? After saying all of them are beautiful, all of them are upright, then it continues. وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَامِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ مِنْهُمْ مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. Allah has promised those who believe and those who do very good from among them, not them, from among them, not وَعَدَهُمَ اللَّهُ, not وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. No, it's وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ مِنْهُم, from them. If it was all of them, he wouldn't say minhum. He would just say وَعَدَهُمَ Allah. So that means, and can you get into Jannah without مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا عَظِيمًا? You can't. So there's a group from that same category. Allah promises some of them maghfirah and ajr. That means the others don't have maghfirah and ajr. That means the others are not going to attain salvation. That means, i.e., not all of them are subject to adalah. Then the second ayah is postulated. Surah At-Tawbah, chapter 9, verse 100. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي تَحْتَهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا ذَلِكَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. I agree. Man, that's a beautiful ayah. The first forerunners, there were two hijrahs in Islam. There was one hijrah, they were the first ones. وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ, from those who did hijrah. Then there were those from the Ansar that were the first to accompany the Holy Prophet. Then those who followed their way of life. وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ, the tabi'is. Those who never met the Prophet, but met the Sahaba. You know who that includes? You and I. اتَّبَعْنَا مِلَّةَ النَّبِي. Did we not follow the way of the Holy Prophet of Islam? وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِوَتْ إِحْسَانٍ. That's the key. بِإِحْسَانٍ. These are all conditions, by the way. بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ. Allah is satisfied with them, and they are satisfied with what Allah gave them, and He has prepared for them heavens beneath which rivers flow. That is surely the great victory. I agree. This is a wonderful message for all of the companions. But do you know who's a great Sahabi initially, who not only did a hijrah, he did the greatest hijrat. The first hijrah. We said there are two hijrah brothers and sisters. The first one was to Habasha, Ethiopia. Then the main one was to Medina al-Munawwara. Rasulullah makes mention that those who did the first hijrah, none come near them. Why? They were a handful of about 10 or so. When your religion is only about 40 people, they say those that did hijrah with the Holy Prophet of Islam, they were not more, in debating, not more than 35 to 60. When you're about 40 or so people, and that's your entire religion, yet you believe in it so much, Rasulullah says, go to Ethiopia. It's not best to stay here. You go. And from among them, Ja'far, the brother of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ja'far al-Tayyar, Dhul Jinahain, he went as the leader of that group. They went all together, among them a few individuals. They were so praised by Rasulullah. وَهَاجَرُوا الْهِجْرَتَيْن. Then some of them came back to Medina as well. They get so much praise, a lot of praise, than those who became Muslim in the end of the life of the Holy Prophet of Islam, when Islam was pretty big, basically. You get more credit in the beginning when you have every excuse not to join. Do you know who joined that group? That initial group. Not only did he do the first hijrah, he's not a sabiq. He's a muhajir from the sabiqun al-awwalun, from the first people. Not just that, he's also the cousin of the Holy Prophet of Islam. He's also a muwahhid, hanif. So in the days of Jahiliyyah, he wasn't worshipping idols or idolatry, wathaniya, polytheism. He was a cousin to the Prophet. He became the brother-in-law of the Prophet eventually as well. This man is Ubaydullah ibn Jahsh. Ubaydullah ibn Jahsh, he's the cousin of the Prophet from his mom's side, Maymun. His mother, his auntie, from his maternal side. Her son is this guy, Ubaydullah. Ubaydullah, even his name, by the way, it doesn't get any better for this man. Ubayd, not Abdullah, the small servant of Allah. You think everything is going well for him. He goes to Ethiopia and he's with his wife, Zainab ibn Jahsh. Zainab bin Jahsh, who later Rasulullah marries because of an issue we will now examine. He gets to Ethiopia, Christian community and society, and his eyes fall on this lady, and he's interested in her, but he's married. And she says to him, look, I'm also interested in you, but leave that religion, embrace Christianity, and you can have me forever. This Ubaydullah, life is perfect for him. Yani, how much is Allah preparing for him? But later we will realize it's not how you begin, it's how you end. He then decides to say, you know what, forget it. He joins her end, he leaves Islam, he leaves his wife, she is miserable, and he dies in Ethiopia a murtad. This ayah completely applied to him. But as we can tell, it's not about how you begin. Otherwise, Ubaydullah is promised the greatest Jannah. It's about, did you die on that same aqeedah? Did you stay firm on that wilayah? You may have been categorized as among the top people, but when Rasulullah leaves you, did you stay on the right path? The path where he said, follow them, you will never go astray. Otherwise, if that's not the case, Ubaydullah ibn Jahsh has the best Jannah waiting for him, but he dies a kafir in the way against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, this ayah that is used to substantiate the following concept, Adalat al-Sahaba, is contingent on whether or not the way you began is the way you end as well. Now, the ayat are exhausted. No more ayat are brought forth. What is brought forth now? The following scholarly, scholastic arguments. What is a sahabi? The term suhbah, sahabiyu, sahib, in the Arabic lexicon means the following. Does it mean someone that is upright, that is deserving of reverence and legitimacy? Not necessarily. Why? How about we don't use that dictionary and we don't use this dictionary? Let's use the greatest of all dictionaries, the Quran. We open the Quran, where do we see the term Sahaba used? Because if you use the Quran, you're sealed, you're good. I see an ayah of the Quran that says the Sahabi can sometimes be a mushrik, but he can still be called a Sahabi. How? Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison, he's looking at his two cellmates and he feels bad for them. So you don't know who you're with. You're in prison with a prophet of God, for goodness sake. And Nabi Yusuf, according to Ahadith, he's a Rasul. He's a messenger. He has a Risala to give. And he's like, I feel bad for you guys. My beloved companions of the jail, let me talk to you. He says what? قيل يا صاحبي السجن أأرباب متفرقون خير أم الله الواحد القهار. My companions of the jail, صاحبي. Sahabi is one, صاحبي is dual, two. He's talking to two of them. Are multiple gods better for you? Because they're mushriks. Multiple أرباب متفرقون خير لكم أم الله الواحد القهار. يعني subhanallah, a mushrik is a sahabi? Yeah. Mushrikeen can be sahaba suddenly. Also, it doesn't mean adil automatically by default if you're called sahabi. La, a mushrik can be a sahabi. Yeah, what mushrik? Forget the insan. A whale can be a sahabi. ولا تكن كصاحب الحوت إذ نادى وهو مكظوم. And do not be like the companion of the well, Nabiullah Yunus alayhi salam. When he called on his people while he was a little bit angry, the well swallowed him. What did Allah refer to Nabi Yunus in relation to the well? وَلَا تَكُنْ كَصَاحِبِ الْحُوتِ. And do not be, O Holy Prophet of Islam, like the companion of the well. Yani a well can be my sahabi, yeah. Now suddenly we have a culmination of definitions, presuppositions, Quranic presuppositions, not my rogue opinion, Quranic presuppositions. What does this mean? That if a well can be a companion, and a mushrik can be a companion, the term sahabi only means the one who is next to me. That's it. La, it means adala ila yawm al-qiyamah. Nor does it mean deserving of utmost respect. That's why when you see another ayah of the Quran, for example, when the Holy Prophet says to his sahib in the cave, do not have huzn. God is with us. Why are you afraid? Don't jump to conclusions. That must mean, haha, this is the biggest dalil as to the ultimate respect that is deserved. Well, the mushrik can be a sahabi, and if well can be a sahabi. Why did Rasulullah use the term sahabi? If an individual is genuinely upright, he would call them additional things. One of the best terms, by the way, to indicate a sahabi is positive is nadim, subhanallah, interestingly enough. That it's a companion, but he's a close companion of mine. In any case, sadiq is another one of these, to distinguish the sahabi suddenly. Now, how does one become a sahabi? I want to know, how do I become one? Is it if I am Muslim and I am friends with the Prophet? Because if the Quran says it's enough just to be near the Prophet of Islam, you can be called a sahabi. What does it mean to be a sahabi? There is a book by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, a proud scholar from the non-Shi'i circle. He's a erudite scholar. He's contributed a lot. He is the Shaykh al-Tusi of the non-Shi'i circle. And he has contributed many in the academic world. He has a book called Usud al-Ghaba fi Ma'rifat al-Sahaba, rather by Ibn al-Athir. Ibn Hajar then writes another book about the Sahaba. We'll get to that. But Ibn al-Athir, he writes the definitions. Ibn al-Athir has a dictionary too, by the way. And so he writes terminologies. He says, these are the scholarly opinions as to what it means to be a Sahabi. He lists them categorically. Number one, there was a scholar by the name of Sa'id ibn Musayyib. He is a tabi'i scholar. He came after the companions. Sa'id ibn Musayyib says the following: in order to become a Sahabi, you must have, these are conditions, you must have lived alongside the Prophet for 1 or 2 years and contributed to 1 or 2 wars. Yani if it's 11 months and it's no war and I was with the Prophet, I'm not a Sahabi? Or if it's 2 years but no wars, I'm not a Sahabi? Or if it's 1 year but 1 war, he says 1 or 2 years or 1 or 2 wars. Why exactly that number? Where did you get that arbitrary condition from? Why 1 or 2 years? Why not 9 months? Why not 10 days? Why? Where did that come from? Because if you say these are the conditions to become adil, and we can never judge you, and we can never say what you did was wrong, you can't say that. I want to know the right condition. And where did you substantiate from? Sa'id bin Musayyib says 1 or 2 years or 1 or 2 wars. Okay. He then adds, there is a scholar by the name of Al-Waqidi. Al-Waqidi says you must have seen the Prophet for 1 hour at least. If you saw him for less than an hour, I'm sorry, you're not a Sahabi. Yani, why not 30 minutes? I was a Muslim. I met the Prophet and I said, Ya Rasulullah, you know what happened? It's interesting. There were some companions who only saw the Prophet in his last year. It's called Am al-Wufud, the year of the delegations. There was a famous companion, Malik al-Ashtar, from Yemen. He came, gave bay'ah to Rasulullah and instantly left. So if you make a condition where it's at least 1 hour and many of these people who saw him for a few seconds don't fit into that category, you lose many who were lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, potentially. Wallahu alam. Why 1 hour? Why not 30 minutes? What if it was 59 minutes? Yani, where are you coming up with these numbers from? Why are these conditions laid forth? Furthermore, another opinion, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, in his Musnad, he makes mention that in order to be classified as Sahabi, you have to at least just see him. From a distance, you don't even need to say Salaamu Alaikum. I saw him. Because why is that a condition? The Prophet in the later years especially became very popular. He was the world's famous man, the number one most famous individual to have ever, until today actually, to have ever existed, but especially at that time. The kingdoms of Kisra, Persia, Qaisar, Muqawqis, everyone knew about this man. He was so famous, they wouldn't leave the Holy Prophet of Islam. So sometimes people never saw him, but caught a glimpse of him. Ahmad ibn Hanbal says, that's enough, you're a Sahabi to me. Now, if you're a Sahabi, your ahadith, these are ramifications. You can never deliberately lie because you are now pretty much homogenous to the concept of imamah. We said you have adil, udul, and adil man never lies. So that means if you narrate a narration, we're going to accept it. If we can confirm that you actually narrated it, we're going to accept it. And you know what the problems of this methodology is? You have an individual who's narrating a hadith who never saw the Prophet the day he narrated that hadith. For example, we have the famous, and this is not a pejorative, nor is it necessarily polemical, just examining history, ahistoric. We have Abu Hurairah, who narrated the hadith. When Rasulullah entered Medina, can be found in the Sihah material. He entered Medina, he saw the Jews fasting on the 10th of Muharram. And then Rasulullah says, Ana ahaqqu bi Musa minkum, I have a greater right to Musa than you do. Now we will fast the 10th of Muharram. This is a hadith we believe is not accurate. Why? Abu Hurairah narrates when Rasulullah entered Medina, the first year of Hijrah. Abu Hurairah, you entered Islam 7th year after Hijrah. You were still in Yemen. How are you narrating that? We can't question it because he's a Sahabi. No, but that doesn't make any sense. Some common sense needs to have a role here. Although common sense is not so common these days, especially in the 7th century Arabian Peninsula apparently. But in any case, these are the ramifications when you say someone is adil. How did he become adil? We got a concept called adalat al-sahaba. Yeah, but I need objectivity. Where's your common sense here? Then you have the last category, al-Bukhari. He says, no, I'll make it very easy. In order to be classified as Sahabi, just accompany the Prophet, you're done, you're good. Don't even see him. Don't even talk to him. You're in a big crowd. You're in the end of the crowd of thousands of people. Khalas, you're a Sahabi. Anything you narrate, we'll accept. You heard him actually, you didn't hear him, I don't care. You are a Sahabi, all these conditions fit with you suddenly. For these reasons and more, we say respectfully, we reject such a concept. But that does not mean I will now come and push down your throat my beliefs or I will insult you. That's not how we were taught by our Ahlul Bayt. We are taught by the man who said, if you disagree with an individual, move on. Move on. Talk to them. If it doesn't work, move on. If they begin to yell at you, you know what you say? وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. And if the jahil begins to do what? Khutbah. When they're preaching to you. And I see this a lot. Scary looking. And he just wants to yell and preach at you. It's like, okay, are you done? Salaamu alaikum, I'm gone. Don't waste your time. There are people, they don't want to actually guide you. They just want to yell at you. They want to put you in a corner. And you can see the debates are all everywhere. Online, looking like one of the cast of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Very scary, very unfit, very evil. Look, he's about to attack suddenly and he's yelling, brother, ittaqillah. That's not the Quranic style. Because the Quran says, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَنْفَضُّ مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. O Messenger of God, had you been hard-hearted, mean and abrasive in your akhlaq, they would have ran away from you. But you weren't. You had the tenderness of a mom who would take care of her baby she missed for an entire year. What kind of tenderness is that, subhanAllah? You, in your mannerism, I disagree, and we brought the evidence. I disagree. These are my reasons. If you have a counter argument, provide it. But we should not make this the point of fitna in this world today. We live in a world, we have too many problems and too many people causing discord and issues. And we are supposed to be Muslims. I disagree, you disagree. Let us unite on at least La ilaha illallah. Let us unite on the way of the Quran. We, the Islamophobe, doesn't care if you're this Shi'i, that Sunni, this Sunni. He just cares about how he can put you down in this society. They couldn't care less what you believe in, your aqeedah, this alim. These names, they couldn't care less. We have to unite on these grounds these days. But never jeopardize your aqeedah. Always stay firm and confident. Therefore, what does it mean to become adil suddenly? What is adala? This concept leads to the following. There are some scholars, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani mentions in his Isaba fi Tamyiz al-Sahaba, that the jinn can also become Sahaba, because Rasulullah met the jinn. I don't know how much that aids us in Islamic theology, honestly, the jinn being companions. We don't have ahadith from jinn, but anyways, children who were babies, when they met the Prophet of Islam, as the Prophet just to bring barakah, to bless the child, they grow up, they're considered Sahaba. That's another deal. If someone saw the body of the Prophet when he died, they're about to bury him, because we do have reports that when the Prophet was being buried, new individuals came to see him for the first time. If you saw his dead body, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, you are now considered a Sahabi. These, honestly, for us, they don't hold much merit. A jinn, a baby, when you saw, what does this give you, theologically speaking? Furthermore, what does it mean to be adil? How could you become adil, adala? One of the names of Allah, al-adil. Adala means justice indeed. But what does it mean to be a just human being? You find a Shaykh Hassan bin Farhan al-Maliki, a grand scholar in the areas of Islamic history. Shaykh Hassan bin Farhan al-Maliki writes a book called Al-Suhba wal-Sahaba. As-Suhba, companionship of the companions. He says there are 11 different definitions as to what it means to be adil, and no one gives one single answer. One definition is you should never ever lie. You should never lie. When we look at Islamic history, we see a lot of problems then. Another definition is you cannot do, because there are dhunub, sins. Al-kaba'ir was-sagha'ir. There are sins that are considered very bold, big. There's no doubt that was a big bad sin. But there are also minor sins. If any time you saw a companion do a minor sin, they're not a companion anymore. That is to suggest that all the companions didn't do the sagha'ir. What's a sin saghira, basically? Let's try saying that 5 times fast. A small sin. A sin sughra. I hear someone trying to say it 5 times now. But in any case, what is a small sin? In Islam, you find, subhanAllah, the small sins like a white lie. You find, for example, the mizan, the scale. One narration says if you add grains in the scale, but you take out one and hold it, just so it doesn't add into the weight and the value, that's considered a small sin. Then it's all rounded up by Imam Ali, to which he says, the biggest sin is the one you think is the smallest. It's just a small sin. Don't look at the size of the sin. Look at the size of the one you are sinning against. This, they say, don't do the saghar as well. There is also a third opinion that in this material, they can never do the mubahat as well. That's a very complicated situation now. If the mubah is not haram and not wajib or halal or any case, or not rather halal but mustahab. It's neutral. So for example, playing soccer, playing video games. I'm not getting ajr and I'm not necessarily, getting sins here. I'm just enjoying my time. Although there's a trick, you can make any action of your day to day a form of ibadah to Allah. Begin whatever with Bismillah. Now I don't know how that's going to help you if you play video games and you begin Bismillah, whatever, dua. I know some people, who was playing today? Who was the football match? Who was it? The Eagles? Someone told me, please make dua for these guys. I can make dua, but they have to say Bismillah first, so they're not going to get it. In any case, there are ways to make your day blessed. However, a mubah act, in order to become a sahabi, a just one, they have to avoid the mubahat. That's very hard to do. It's not haram, it's not halal, it's not wajib or mustahab. They don't even do, everything they do is mustahab. If we look at Islamic history, that's very hard to accomplish. I can only see one man, and we all know who we're talking about. Everything he did was a dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's Amir al-Mu'minin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I mean, how could you if you are the same man who said, ما رأيت شيئا, I don't see anything, إلا ورأيت الله قبله بعده وفيه. I don't see anything except I see God before it, after it, and in it. Everything he does is ibadah lillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a guy who can say everything I do, there's no mubah, it's all mustahab in my life. Everything is either wajib or mustahab. To me, the mubah is haram. To me, that which is neutral is reprehensible. To him, he's the man who said, our actions, hasanatul abrar, sayyi'at al-muqarrabin. To you, what you do that is good, hasana, you're a birr individual. You are obedient to Allah. Your actions are hasanat. To me, I am a muqarrib, I'm close to Allah. They are sayyi'at to me. How is that possible? Haven't you ever contemplated why Amir al-Mu'mineen says in Dua Kumail, Allahumma ighfir li al-dhunub allati tahbisu al-du'a. Allahumma ighfir li kulla dhanbin adhnabtu. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, what dhunub? No. Why my ibadah to Allah, to you is a hasana, but to me it's never enough. For him, he deserves so much. Mawla ya mawlai, anta al-mawla wa ana al-abd. وَهَلْ يَرْحَمُ الْعَبْدَ إِلَّا الْمَوْلَى مَوْلَايَ مَوْلَى. He continues. Why is he talking like this? You do only good. He says back, you are obedient to Allah, but I am close to Allah. And to you, for the obedient, every good thing is a hasanah. But to me, the hasanat are almost like sayyi'at. He deserves so much more. Forgive me for not giving you enough, Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see these definitions. In order to become adil, you must be of these stature. I can't help but consider that 100,000 individuals lived up to this exactly. For that reason, brothers and sisters, we adore the companions of the Prophet. Don't let anyone tell you that the lovers of Ahlul Bayt cursed the Sahaba. Hasha lillah. The Sahaba, did you forget, from among them are the Ahlul Bayt. How about the Shuhada of Badr, the Shuhada of Uhud, Khandaq, Khaybar, Hunayn? What about these individuals? What about, but on the other side, there were companions of the Prophet. No need to even mention names, but I'll give you some of these names. There was a companion of the Prophet, no shadow of doubt, who fought Imam al-Hussein in Karbala by the name of Shabath bin Rabi'. You can look at him in many of the material that make mention of the names of the companions of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Shabath ibn Rabi' saw the Prophet, he entered Islam, but they justify him in an interesting way. Because when the Prophet died, he left Islam. He joined a movement that was a fake new prophetic movement by the name of a lady, a prophetess claimant. She was a lady, she called that she was a prophet. Sajah basically is her name. She said, I'm a Nabiya who wants to follow my way of life. This Shabath bin Rabi' didn't really think Islam had anything worth merit. He's among the tulaqa, of course, among many, who only became Muslim because they had no other choice. And so he's like, you know what, forget Islam, it looks like you have some good things to offer. He became her mu'adhin, by the way. He gave adhan in her sake. If you read Tarikh Dimashq, and if you read the Tarikh al-Dhahabi, it makes mention of all of these dark times of Islamic history. He became her mu'adhin. When he got to Ashhadu Anna, he would probably say the name of the Prophet, he would say Ashhadu Anna Sajah, and he would say that she was the Prophet of God. When she was finished, he went back to Islam. He went back to Islam in an interesting way though. He joined Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib and he fought Muawiyah in Siffin. When the arbitration of Siffin happened and Nahrawan, the Khawarij came before Nahrawan, he joined Muawiyah. He goes from Rasulullah to against Islam, to with Imam Ali, to against Imam Ali with Muawiyah. When Muawiyah and the Khawarij became a reality, he joined the Khawarij. He's like, I'll forget Muawiyah and forget you. I'm going to join these people. Before the battle of Nahrawan happens, he leaves. He leaves. Where does he go? When Uthman, before these wars, when Uthman was being attacked, he went and he attacked Uthman. He was anti-Uthman, then pro-Ali. Then he joined Muawiyah. Then he left Muawiyah and Imam Ali and he joined the Khawarij. He left the Khawarij. Something interesting happened where Muawiyah called for men. He joined Muawiyah again against Imam al-Hasan. Then when Muawiyah died, he joined Yazid and he fought Imam al-Hussein. When Imam al-Hussein left and Mukhtar rose. Guess what he did? He joined Mukhtar to find the killers of Imam Hussein. Mukhtar said, come here, come here. No, don't think you can get away with us. And then he dealt with him what should have been dealt with a long time ago. This man who fights Aba Abdullah is a Sahabi. Forget Shabath ibn Rabi. Not the same year, next year, 62 after Hijrah. 61 after Hijrah, what happened? The greatest calamities in Karbala. 62 after Hijrah, the city of Medina was sacked in an event known as Waqi'atul Hurra. Waqi'atul Hurra was an event where Yazid then goes and destroys Medina and he attacks the Kaaba with catapults. In Medina, before they went to Mecca, a man who was leading the army by the name of Muslim bin Uqba. Muslim bin Uqba, he was a Sahabi. They say he was 93 years old on that day. Yeah, he was that old. He saw the Prophet and they all adore him and revere him. Yani he's a Sahabi, adil, just, he doesn't sin. What he does do, if he does make a mistake, he makes a mistake by ijtihad. Ijtahada fa'akhta. That's how you justify Ali ibn Abi Talib fighting this individual radiyallahu anhu and Ali radiyallahu anhu. What kind of radiyallah is this? When both of them are Sahaba, that's sad. Amir al-Mu'mineen fights Amir al-Mu'mineen. Well, that's why when you have adat al-Sahaba, you end up with this paradoxal, oxymoronical situation. Shabath ibn Rabi is also a Sahabi, but he goes to Medina, and that year, from the amount of women who had their dignity taken from them, the next year, 800 illegitimate children were born. The masjid of the Holy Prophet was burnt by this guy, Muslim ibn Uqba, such that history changed his name. You know what he was called? Musrif ibn Uqba, the blood spiller, son of Uqba. He destroys Medina. He goes to the Mecca to destroy the Kaaba. On his way, he dies. And ila jahannam wa bi'sa al-masir. These are Sahaba. We're supposed to revere. You might agree with me. No, these men did very much wrong. How about you consider the following when I don't respect or necessarily understand or rather acknowledge the legitimacy of the caliphate of the first three khulafa, for example, not out of spite, but out of merit. I see a right usurped, whether it is a land that belonged to Lady Zahra, whether it is the haqq of Amir al-Mu'mineen. I see the rights of the family of the Prophet, to which he said, Inni khallaftu lakum ithnain. This one is more specific, by the way. I have left behind as khulafa to you, Kitab Allah wa Ahl Bayti. Ahl Bayti, Ahl Bayti. The terminology in this sentence, brothers and sisters, couldn't be more accurate, subhanAllah. He says, Taraktum here. This can be found in the Musnad of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and he says, وَحَدِيثُهُ صَحِيحٌ وَرِجَالُهُ ثِقَاتٌ. This exact tradition. إِنِّي قَدْ خَلَّفْتُ لَكُمْ إِثْنَيْنِ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَأَهْلَ بَيْتِي أَهْلَ بَيْتِي أَهْلَ بَيْتِي. I see them being abused. I don't care who you are. Give me the best of people in the times of difficulty. Make you the closest in marriage. Make you the closest in battle. The day you go against my Ahlul Bayt, you are the furthest from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Irrespective of marital or social status. That's it. In Islam, you don't earn your respect through marriage. You earn your respect through merit. Otherwise, Abu Lahab could have been the closest to the Prophet. But I don't care how close you are. In this religion, you earn your respect through merit, not through marriage. Give me names. I am this of the Prophet. Son-in-law, father-in-law, wife. In this religion, this is not a royal kingship. Oh, this is the sovereign leader. This is the duke of this. I'm not going to bash any royal family here. But if you are close to a family tree, I will respect you on the basis of your humanity. Not by the basis of, you're related to this guy, you deserve more respect suddenly. That's not fair in life. And Allah teaches us to be fair, as His name is the all-fair, all-knowing, the most just in this world. We are reflections of that, brothers and sisters. Now, how about we look at the companions that the Prophet himself never uttered the words regarding, but Imam al-Hussein said the following, Wallah ma ra'aytu ashaban awfa min ashabi. I have never seen companions more loyal than my companions. He started with 72 and he ended with 72. Where did you, on the night of Ashura? Of course, the world backstabbed him. Society betrayed him. He began with several hundred in Medina. He went to Mecca. From there, he went out to Kufa. Hundreds were with him. Ibn Abbas said I don't think this is a great idea. Leave him and go to Yemen, please. Many of the others said no. Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab gave bay'ah to Yazid ibn Muawiyah. When people say Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam fell victim to the crimes of the Shia of Kufa, those who were supposed to join him, and Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad took the soldiers of Kufa to kill Imam al-Hussein, they were the Shia, because they were the ones who wrote letters to Imam al-Hussein, come. So the Shia killed Imam al-Hussein. What about Mecca and Medina? What happened to these two cities? Well, they joined Imam al-Hussein, very much so. They complete abandonment. Furthermore, the Shia of Kufa gave everything to Imam al-Hussein. What? Habib ibn Mudahar al-Asadi, where's he not? Where's he from? Not Kufa. Muslim ibn Awsaja, where's he from? Kufa. Where is Hani ibn Urwa from? Kufa. Mukhtar from Banu Thaqif, but lives in Kufa. Many of the companions of Sayyidina Shah are Kufan. But alas, you find him saying, Wallah. And when an Imam says, Wallah, that's a big deal. I have never seen companions more loyal than mine. The night before I turn off the lantern, I'm telling you, I will even pay you, just leave. They're after me. You can go. You are free. He opens the lantern light. All counting them, they have stayed. And he said that line, by Allah, none to me are closer to the family of the Prophet of Islam than you individuals. Habib ibn Mudahar is a Sahabi, by the way. He's a companion of the Prophet. So I find it interesting. On that side, Shabath is a Sahabi. On this side, Habib is a Sahabi. Neck at neck. Use your mind. Be objective. Allah gave you an aql. Allah made you just in this world. See where is the haqq. Don't look at who's speaking and try to find the haqq. Look at the haqq and then see where it compares to it. Amir al-Mu'mineen is with haqq or not? With haqq. By extension, then his family carry that right as well, brothers and sisters. After the event of Karbala happened, you found a situation where they wanted to release their anger against the Sahaba of Imam al-Hussein. How dare they decide to raise arms against us and the Khalifa? I want, ordered by Umar ibn Sa'ad, I want these horsemen, find every one of his men and add insult onto injury, trample over their bodies. Who do we trample over first, these 10 horsemen? The Maqatis say they looked into the lineage of all 10 of these and they found none of them are from illegitimate marriage. 10 of these horrid monsters dispatched from hellfire. They said, who do you want us to trample over first? Umar ibn Sa'ad said, the one that betrayed us. Go for Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi first. Trample over his body. Banu Riyaha were there on the opposition. They said, Ya Umar, do not trample over the body of our son. We killed him, that's fine. But you will not allow us to add insult onto injury. We will come and bury him by a different area. That's why today, if you go to Karbala, Hurr bin Yazid is not buried in Bain al-Haramain in that area. He's buried a few kilometers distant from there. Inshallah, you all have the honor to make that ziyarah. Why is he buried that way? Banu Riyaha, his family, took him away to protect them from the hooves of Banu Umayyah. Hurr, you're there. Imam Hussein is here when you go to Karbala. That's only because he was saved from the hoof prints, brothers and sisters. They said, fine, forget Hurr. We should now trample over the body of those that supported him from Kufa. Where is Habib ibn Mudahar? Right now. Find his body and trample him. That was a very gloomy day. Umar ibn Sa'ad was told no. Because Banu Asad were present on the opposition as well as the side of Imam al-Hussein. They said no. Habib ibn Mudahar cannot be insulted like this. You will allow him to be buried and not adding insult onto injury. They can kill, but they cannot trample. This is additional insult. They have that tribal dignity, unfortunately, and apparently. Forget Habib. Muslim ibn Awsaja needs to be trampled. The same, Muslim ibn Awsaja cannot be trampled. He has the family relation that's on that side as well. Then he said the line, find me now the family of Hussein. We need to trample over the body of Ali al-Akbar. He was the first from his family to attack us. I cannot handle that. They said, Ali al-Akbar, there's a huge problem with him. Why? His mother, Layla, is the niece of Muawiyah. Her mother is the sister of Muawiyah, making her and Yazid first cousins. Yazid won't like that. Leave Ali. They said, then who do we do? Who do we trample over? Qasim, that young boy. Trample over his body. Wallah, he doesn't have anyone on our side. They said, no, Qasim, Qasim, Ramla, Al-Fizariya, Banu Fizara are with us, Ya Umar ibn Sa'ad. It's not going to be easy. They won't be happy. It's like, fine, forget that young boy. Trample over the one buried next to the Furat. Abul Fadl al-Abbas, surely no one is there for him to protect him. They said, no, Abul Fadl's mother, al-Baneen, is a cousin to Shimr ibn Dhul Jawshan. If you trample over him, Shimr will not handle it. Then he called out the line, brothers and sisters, whose body lay on the ground, whose mother is not there to represent him, and father is not there to represent him from our side. They replied, only one body. They said, whose body is that? They said, it's the body of Hussein ibn Ali. He is all alone, ghareeb. No one represents him. To which then Umar ibn Sa'ad called out, trample over the body. Ya khuyul Allah, dusi ala who it was. But they hear him say the following. What does he say? He says, Abaya Hussein. أبا حسين أما ليالي فمسهد وأما حزني فسرمد حتى يختار الله لي دارك التي أنت بها مقيم. Father Hussein, as for my nights, they will be sleepless until I leave. And as for my tears, they will be everlasting for you until I see you in Jannah and meet you after all this time. They said to him, who are you? He said, Ana Ali ibn al-Husayn Zayn al-Abidin. He said to them, come and help me with these bodies. They are separated. We need to collect them. Get me a long sheet. I have to pile them up in one area. Then they say he was walking. Banu Asad recorded, he got down, he picked up something and he kissed it. They said they looked, it was a finger. This was from Imam al-Hussein. Afterwards, how much did they slash at him, Ya Aba Abdullah? And then they said to him, where do you have to go next? He said, there is a body, only me and Allah can allow this to be lifted. They said, where? In the Furat, by himself. He goes and he buries Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Then he goes and he buries the body of Imam al-Hussein. When they go to Sham and they return back, they return with the heads this time, and all the heads of the shuhada, from Akbar to Asghar, all of them, and Imam al-Hussein. As they're coming back, Aba Abdullah, he has his head. Imam Zain al-Abidin opens up the grave. He returns the heads of every single one of the shuhada. As he puts Imam al-Husayn's head back, the hadith says he heard a voice come out from the blessed lips of Imam al-Husayn, to which he said, the baby, place him on my chest. At-tifl, khalla ala sadri. Place the baby on my chest and his neck on my neck. I still feel the arrow burning on him. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Brothers and sisters, this is our last night. Let us recite with the tear flowing the ayat 5 times with your hajat. This is the night. Recite, brothers and sisters, for all those who are unwell. لكشف الهموم والغموم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. All together. أمن ويكشف السوء. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. اللهم اكشف السوء والبلاء عنا يا الله. اللهم المرضى المنظورين شافي وعافهم يا الله. Allahumma grant us the ziyarah of Aba Abdullah in this dunya. Grant us a shafa'ah in the akhirah. Oh Allah, we ask you to hasten the reappearance of our 12th awaited Imam. Oh Allah, we ask you to raise us with Aba Abdullah in the akhirah. Oh Allah, we ask you to grant us all of our hajat, heal all of our sick ones, and to all those who have requested, and the ulama and the shuhada. Rahimallah min qara surah al-mubarakat al-Fatiha. But before it, the loudest of your salawat. سورة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم الصراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. مأتم الحسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين. يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.
Hai Baba, अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता पापा केरे कहता है कोई यतीमा बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा मैं बयान कैसे करूं अपनी मुसीबत तुमसा क्या करूं रमना तमाचुन की शिकायत तुमसा सुनती हूँ दीना के ता तुमाचा बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा कोई बशीर ज़्यादा किया था मैंने आपका चेहरा तू पहचान लिया था मैंने अब पहचानो ये कैसे मेरा चेहरा बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा अब का दूर तू मिसरा सिताम शती रही रो कर कूफा के दरबार में मैं सी ना सकी अब कसम ना जब से मरने मारा बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा वो तो बीर मारती मर जाता सफर में आका दफन करता उसा बाजार में बेया कैसा یا تو اچھا ہویا اے ہی سگر بابا اب مجھے کوئی سکینہ نہیں کہتا بابا اب مجھے کوئی سکینہ نہیں کہتا بابا میری آنکھوں سے بہا جاتا تا آنسو اس دم ہاتھ بھی مانا لگے یا نہیں داری کی قسم دینا چاہتا مجھے لگے گو نے سکا بابا اب مجھے کوئی سکینہ نہیں کہتا بابا اب مجھے کوئی سکینہ نہیں کہتا بابا آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں میرے لاڈلے کہاں ہو میرے لاڈلے کہاں ہو سینے تمہیں لگاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں میرے لاڈلے کہاں ہو میرے لاڈلے کہاں ہو سینے تمہیں لگاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں بیٹا تمہارا قاتل میرے سامنے کھڑا ہے جانے کیوں ہنس رہا ہے چادر بھی لٹ چکی ہے منہ کس طرح چھپاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں تیرے جھولے کو سکینہ رو رو کے چومتی ہے تجھ گھر میں ڈھونڈتی ہے تیری موت کی قبر میں کیسے اسے سناؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں میرے جان جا رہی ہے یہ سوچے سوچے اصغر اس پھولے سے گلے پر یہ تیر کیسے جھیلا بہنوں کو کیا بتاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں بیٹا تمہارا قاتل میرے سامنے کھڑا ہے جانے کیوں ہنس رہا ہے چادر بھی لٹ چکی ہے منہ کس طرح چھپاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں آ جاؤ چاند میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں
जो अब्बाया
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Allah, Ya Rabbi koi mahasuma زندان میرا تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوما زندان میرا تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوما یا رب کوئی معصوما زندہ میرا تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوما ہو پابند نہ ہوا این ہائے پابند نہ ہوا این رونے پہ نہ پہرا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوما زندان ہو یا رب دی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر دی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر پر زندہ در زندان زندہ در زندان جس کے لیے قضا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوما زندہ میرا تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوما زندہ میرا تنہا ہو زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز سکنے کی زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز جیسے کہ سکینہ کو ہائے جیسے کہ سکینہ کو اور زندان رو رہا ہو یا رب کوئی ہو یا رب ٹکرے نو کیوں کر زندہ کی دیواروں سے ٹکرے نو کیوں کر زندہ کی دیواروں سے پائی سے اور پپی سے ہائی پائی سے اور پپی سے جس سے کیا جدا کیا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوم زندان میرا تنہا ہو یا رب یا رب کوئی معصوما زندہ میرا تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوما زندہ میرا تنہا ہو پابند نہ ہوا ہائے پابند نہ ہوا رونے پہ نہ پہرا ہو یا رب کوئی ہو یا رب کوئی معصوم
جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر، تھی جس کو نیند آتی پر، زندہ در زندان، اے زندہ در زندان، جس کے لیے قضا ہو یا رب کوئی ماں، زندان میرا تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوم ہو، زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز اس سکینے کی، زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز اس سکینے کی، جیسے کہ سکینہ کو، ہائے جیسے کہ سکینہ کو ہر زندان رو رہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوم السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك حبيب الله، السلام عليكم يا أئمة المسلمين، السلام عليكم يا السلام عليكم يا أئمة، السلام عليك أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه الصلاة والسلام، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا إمام حسن المجتبى عليه الصلاة والسلام، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقي الليل والنهار، ولا جاره الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي ابن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، السلام عليكم يا أئمة المسلمين، علي بن الحسين محمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد موسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى محمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد الحسن بن علي، السلام عليك صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك شريك القرآن، السلام عليك خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك مزر الإيمان، الأمان الأمان الأمان، أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك واجعلنا من أعوانك أنصارك، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه